come back here to Nashville and I see a lot of people I don't know.
Hello, darling.
I don't know that voice either, but I hope he's talking to you.
He is. That's Conway Twitty. Hello, Conway.
Hello, darling.
Nice to see you.
Hey, y'all. Check out our new website at classiccountrytv.com. Thanks to all of you for your support. Like, comment, and share with a friend if something resonates with you. Pull up a chair, y'all, and let me start with a little country truth. Some singers can hit a note, but only a handful can make a single word feel like a whole heartbreak. And Conway Twitty, Lord have mercy, could crack a room wide open with "Hello, Darlin," like he was talking straight to one lonely soul in the back row. Now here's the part folks sometimes forget. Conway wasn't born Conway. He came into this world as Harold Lloyd Jenkins on September 1st, 1933, down in Friars Point, Mississippi, and he grew up around Helena, Arkansas, with a radio signal and a dream big enough to outrun the Delta dust. The Country Music Hall of Fame notes he was already broadcasting over KFFA in Helena when he was 12 years old. 12. Most of us were just learning not to spill sweet tea on the sofa. And before Nashville ever claimed him, he had other roads calling. He could play ball, good enough that, according to the Hall of Fame biography, the Philadelphia Phillies scouted him. Then Uncle Sam came knocking during the Korean War era, and after his discharge, he hears Elvis on the radio, and it flips a switch. Next thing you know, he's pointed toward Memphis and Sun Records, chasing that rockabilly spark. But the funny thing about Harold Jenkins is, he understood reinvention before most folks understand a second chance. When he needed a name that fit the stage lights, he stitched one together from two map points: Conway, Arkansas, and Twitty, Texas. That's how Conway Twitty stepped out of the shadows. And buddy, the first time America really noticed him, it wasn't country at all. On July 14, 1958, he put out It's Only Make Believe, recorded earlier that spring at Bradley Studios in Nashville. Yes, Nashville, even back then, released on MGM. That record went all the way to #1 on the pop charts in November 1958, and it turned him into a full-blown teen idol. He even showed up in teen movies around 1960, Platinum High School and College Confidential, the kind of thing that makes you smile now, picturing this future king of country drama playing to a different kind of crowd. But here's what makes Conway's story feel so country. Even while he was being sold as a pop heartthrob, he kept writing country songs in his bones. The Hall of Fame account says he yearned to return to country as a performer, and by 1965, producer Owen Bradley at Decca took a chance on him, though country DJs didn't exactly roll out the welcome mat for a former pop star. Then, the door finally cracked open. In 1968, Conway breaks into the country top 10 with The Image of Me. And once he got a boot on that porch step, he didn't just enter the house, he about moved the furniture. Because when Conway Twitty hit his stride in country, he stacked up hits that weren't polite. They were personal, confessionals. The kind of songs where love isn't a postcard, it's a long drive home with your stomach in a knot. His signature moment? Hello, Darlin. It was recorded on November 18, 1969, at Bradley's Barn in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and released March 23, 1970. Billboard says it became his fourth #1 country single, and it stayed glued to his live show, often, as the opener, because that line didn't just start a song, it started a feeling, and then came a run of records that made Conway the patron saint of complicated romance. 15 years ago, in 1970, How Much More Can She Stand and Still Stand By Me in 1971. You've Never Been This Far Before in 1973. There's a Honky Tonk Angel in 1974. And Linda on My Mind in 1975. The Hall of Fame biography even calls out his trademark formula, infidelity mixed with guilt, like he was brave enough to say the quiet part out loud. Now I've got to tell you one of my favorite Conway details, because it explains the legend better than any trophy shelf. For years, Conway didn't do the normal music business dance. The Hall of Fame notes he wouldn't do interviews, wouldn't attend industry parties, didn't appear much on TV, and on stage, he kept it dramatic and minimalist, sometimes barely speaking. That kind of mystery? It's like lantern light in a dark theater. people lean in closer, and boy did they lean in. His crowds, especially the ladies, had a reputation for being downright fervent. Comedian Jerry Clower famously dubbed him the high priest of country music, and if you've ever seen old concert footage, you understand why. It wasn't screaming like a pop show, it was more like testimony. Now, if Conway was the high priest, then Loretta Lynn was the high sheriff in town, and together, they were lightning in a bottle. Their duet run wasn't just cute, it was award-winning and era-defining. The Hall of Fame points to their classic duets, After the Fire Is Gone in 1971, Louisiana Woman, Mississippi Man in 1973, Feelin's in 1975, and notes they won a Grammy and 4 CMA awards along the way. The Country Music Association also confirms that Conway and Loretta won Vocal Duo of the Year 4 straight years, 1972 through 1975. And what I love about those records is how they feel like real people talking. Not perfect people, not made up people. Just folks trying to hold on to love with the world pulling at their sleeves. As the years rolled on, Conway kept moving without losing himself. In the late 70s, he started experimenting. A little rock here, a little soul there. And by the early 80s, he's landing big hits like I'd Love to Lay You Down in 1980 and Tight Fittin' Jeans in 1981. The Hall of Fame frames it as a more contemporary sound and a more open kind of grown-up romance. And then there's Twitty City, one of the most Conway Twitty things that ever Conway Twittied. He built a whole tourism complex in the Nashville area in Hendersonville, Tennessee, part home, part fan destination, part museum-style experience. Now here's where the history gets a little muddy. The Country Music Hall of Fame biography says he opened Twitty City in 1981, but other accounts place the opening in 1982. One source specifically notes it opened in June 1982. So I'm going to tell it to you straight. It was early 80s, and it was Conway putting his name on a real place you could visit. Not just a name on a record sleeve, and he wasn't just building attractions, he was building people up. The Hall of Fame notes he boosted early careers for artists like Vince Gill, Kathy Mattea, Naomi Judd, and Reba McEntire, and he became known as the best friend a song ever had. That's a songwriter's compliment, right there. But country music stories don't always end with a curtain call the way we'd like. Conway Twitty died suddenly on June 5th, 1993. The Hall of Fame notes it happened as he was en route from a show in Branson, Missouri, headed toward Nashville's 1993 fanfare celebration, and it describes the cause as a stomach aneurysm. Another reputable regional history source similarly reports he became ill after performing in Branson and died that same day from an abdominal aneurysm. He was 59 years old. And the silence that followed, it wasn't just the loss of a singer. It was the loss of a voice that knew how to make complicated love sound honest. The honors came, as they often do, with time. The Nashville Songwriters Foundation notes he was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1993, and the Country Music Hall of Fame inducted him in 1999, cementing what the fans already knew: Conway Twitty wasn't a phase. He was a pillar. So when you hear Conway, don't just hear a smooth baritone. Hear the whole journey, the Delta beginnings, the rockabilly gamble, the pop superstardom, the hard-earned country credibility, the duets that still sound like real life, and the songs that felt like they were written for one heart at a time. And if you've got a Conway favorite, maybe Hello Darlin', maybe Linda on My Mind, maybe one of those Loretta duets, drop it in the comments because I read every one of them. Now do me a kindness, hit like, subscribe to Classic Country TV, and share this with somebody who still believes a old country song ought to tell the truth. And y'all come back. There's plenty more legends where that came from.